I'm here with Tom Whalley. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Yeah, I'm a little bit overwhelmed. I don't live in London anymore, so when I come to these occasions, it's sort of like, I'm just struck by how big things are. I live in the countryside now. It's too much for me.
Have you tried any of the nibbles yet?
I haven't nibbled. I haven't had a drink yet. No, the nibbles. I'm waiting for a few people to try the nibbles first for me, and then sort of get an impression. I think.
Have a guinea pig. So you've been
basically. Yeah. The little mini burgers look fun though. Do like a mini burger. Yeah.
So you've been nominated for Best Sports Producer.
Yes.
Yeah. What, in your mind, makes a good programme?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Do you know what? It's a weird one because some of these people who'll be doing it will have produced live sport. Some of them will have produced documentaries, and it's going to be a real sports pun, this, but horses for courses. I do mostly cycling stuff. But cycling's not particularly a sport that you do live on the radio. Certainly that we do live on the radio. We do it as a podcast. But what it is that makes it, I think, what made my entry good and what makes our programmes great, the cycling podcast, is that we bring people closer to the sport than anybody else can. And that's by telling stories that you've not heard before, by being at the races, by being behind the scenes, and just inviting people into to part of the sport that they wouldn't see, really. And whether that's an audio diary, or it's a live on the spot, or it's an interview, any of those elements, just as long as you're bringing people closer, I think works.
Yeah, great. And you work in loads of different areas: music, speech, sports.
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer? Obviously, it sounds like sport. What do you like most about each one?
Well, I'm lucky that I do a couple of things that I really love. So I'm a music radio producer. So I produce Huey on Six Music, my favourite show on my favourite station. So that's, I'm well lucky in that case. Sport, again, my big passion in sport. I love football, but cycling's my big passion, and I get to make the cycling podcast, which I think is probably the best cycling coverage out there, bar none. So I'm lucky, really. What was the question?
What do you like most about each one?
What do I like most about each one? Well, getting paid to listen to music and play music that you like to the public. It's pretty obvious what I like about that, right? Do I have to explain that? And cycling, for me, I've enjoyed the cycling podcast as much as a producer as a listener. It's taken me close to a sport. It's brought me into that world, and I've made so many contacts through it. But it's a show that I don't make every week, and I enjoy listening to it when I don't make it. So, it's just to be a part of it is even better.
Well, not only as a producer, you also own a record label. You're a DJ. You're a lecturer.
Yeah, ish. I'm definitely still a lecturer. So I'm doing some lecturing tomorrow. Started a record label about 10 years ago. I am very much a silent partner in that now. But it was a kind of one of those things that you wanted to do. You always want to start a record label. So we did, and it's still going to this day, and it's great. But I don't run it on a day-to-day basis. I'm just name only, really. And DJing, I haven't done a gig for a while, I've got to say. But that was, that's my background, and that's why I started the label. It was, and that's why I love doing music radio, because I grew up in record stores, buying records and playing records out. And it's something, it's something I should probably do again at some point, but I've kind of just fallen off the radar a little bit. I've got a baby.
Well, there we go.
Late nights, it doesn't mix at all. And I'm a cyclist. Again, can't do all these things at once.
Well, it's shaped who you are today, and it's a pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
Also, you make YouTube videos about cycling.
Yes.
What do you love about having a YouTube channel that differs from the medium of audio?
Do you know what? I've got a YouTube channel because I thought I should have a YouTube channel, and it's kind of a case of practicing what I preach, really. So I teach my students, you've got to move with what's happening in the industry, and you've got to make a name for yourself, and rather than waiting for people to come to you, to go out and make a podcast, have your own YouTube channel. And so it's a case of practicing what I preach, really. But it teaches me new skills, video editing, what works and what works differently from radio. But also, it's a kind of a bit of a calling card at the same time. It gives me something to do when I'm maybe not busy. So if I've not got any work on, we'll still do something constructive, right? But also, people might notice it, and people in the cycling industry might notice it, and I might get asked to do a gig. And so it's kind of, as any freelancer, you'll know this. You've just got to be, at times you've got to be really speculative, and if work's not coming in or nothing's happening, just create your own stuff, And so I've been doing that, and it's working. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm making a video tonight. Actually, I've got the camera.
Ooh!
Look, let's get it out. Forgot actually that we should get this on. Oh, here we go. Sorry, I'm ruining your interview here with my own.
It's alright, we can edit it.
Well, hi.
Being interviewed.
Being interviewed, look. He's talking about YouTube. Amazing, isn't it?
Fantastic.
I didn't plan that, but it's worked out really well.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Tom.
Thank
and
you.
Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Fingers crossed.